Hello and welcome to the film room. My name is John Jansen, and today we are going to be looking at a play between Long Beach State and UC Davis. And what we're going to be looking at here is the transition into the offense on the break by the two big men. And we're going to be looking at the big man for Long Beach State, who's trailing, and the big man for UC Davis, who is just in front of him. So we're going to let it run here. And as we see, the big for Long Beach State is trailing the play. The big for UC Davis is in front of him. Now, I've watched this a bunch of times, and I don't see the big for UC Davis look over his shoulder and see him. So as you see, I don't ever think you see him look at this guy. So that's the first thing I see here. So we're going to look at this from both perspectives, the offense and the defense. So when I see the guy on defense not look over his shoulder and see the offensive player, to me, the offensive player needs to sprint by him. And I can see that the guy for Long Beach State is running hard, but I mean, right there, he should just take two more hard steps and be by him, okay? The next thing I see is he kind of like bumps him as he gets here, and he kind of lets this guy know he's there. So I don't know if that's a great idea to do that, because if the guy doesn't know you're there, you can just run by him. Now, the next thing we see here is as the ball's coming, I've always taught to go to the strong side. Now, the ball is kind of near the paint, so I understand him kind of taking this opposite lane here on the weak side. But at this point right here, this needs to be a fight between him to get one step underneath him, and he's sealed. And none of these other players are even looking at these trailers, which means if he can seal him, he has this entire space around the basket here to offensive rebound, or possibly to get a ball dumped into him. So the guy on UC Davis finally feels him, and they're kind of jostling for position here. And I just feel like number 13 on Long Beach State kind of lets the guy from Davis get inside of him. And once he gets inside of him, he's kind of beat. And look, I'm not saying he should try to go to the strong side. I don't know what their offense is. Obviously, there's already another guy there on the block, but I think he's going to filter out because he's a guard. So, a strong post player is going to trail, especially when there's no other post on the floor. You want to go to the strong side and see how he already lets this guy kind of push him out of the paint. And at this point, he's pretty much useless right here. And even for an offensive rebound, he's being sealed. So right here, what 13 should do is he should spin his body to the low side, reverse spin that way, and seal this guy and take up the space underneath. And instead, he just lets the guy from UC Davis just kind of screen him off from the play completely. And he just keeps getting pushed further and further out of the play. I think I just went backwards. See, at this point, he's useless right here. Like, yes, if a rebound hits and bounces way over here, he has a chance to make it, but he's going to be in a race from this guy, and his momentum's going forward. The next thing you see is he sticks his knee out, which is a foul. The ref doesn't see it because he doesn't displace the guy. But again, he's in a terrible position. So I always talk about with offensive rebounding how much space in the air and on the ground you can own, So this guy right here on UC Davis owns all of this space in the middle of the paint, because the only ball that 13 is going to get is the one that bounces over here to the short corner. If it bounces long, I think this guy on UC Davis is going to get there. So the only ball that he's going to get is the one that bounces just to the short corner. And that's not enough area of space to make it worthwhile to let yourself get sealed here. So what he should do when he sees this guy going up for a shot is take a step back, break the box out, and then sprint to a different part of the offensive rebounding area. Because he may get there at the last second, but at least he has a chance. Here, he's getting almost no offensive rebounds. and he's basically letting this guy box him out. Now, he does an okay job here of kind of taking up a little more space. So any ball back in this area here, he has a chance to get. But in general, that's a very small amount. Now, when you look at the UC Davis player's perspective, he has both feet in the restricted area. So when a guy's shooting a three, and you can see this is a very contested three, there's not very many short rebounds. And look, I understand 13 is a big load and you're going to keep him away as best you can. But if the ball does bounce to this side, there's not a lot of balls the guy that UC Davis can get because he's so far underneath the basket. I mean, it has to bounce around very softly and roll off the side for him to get it. Now, he is not letting this guy, like I said, he's only letting this guy get this short corner rebound, and he is controlling kind of any rebound to the middle, but he has let this guy push him kind of far underneath the basket. We always want our guys to, if possible, get outside the paint, but definitely outside the restricted area because the only ball this guy is going to get is the one that goes through the net. So again, shot goes up. You see 13 trying to make himself big, but he's letting himself get boxed out. I mean, even if the ball comes right between them, he's going to get called for over the back because this guy's doing a good job of showing his box out. And it's going to be very hard for him to get it. And the ball does come their way. And this is what I'm talking about, where the UC Davis guy was so far underneath the basket. That wasn't even a long rebound, and it still went over his head because he was pushed so far underneath the basket. But he does just enough to knock it away, and Davis comes up with the rebound. So the moral of the story is for 13, he needs to be more physical and aggressive running up the floor. He needs to get in front of this guy right away. He needs to be sealing him right here so that he has all of this space to offensive rebound instead of getting pushed way over here to the corner. You never want to run away from the basket and get out of being a threat. And that's really what he does. He plays very passively here. He lets this guy push him out of the play. And even here, I think the UC Davis guy is a little out of position, and he just has to seal him on the inside. Just one big step with his left foot and seal him like he was posting up to someone who had the ball out of bounds, because really he's posting up to try to get the offensive rebound. And if you're a post player and you see that you're not going to be getting the ball, and it's pretty clear that this guy is pretty open, well, then what should you be doing? At no point should you start to be posting up or doing anything except for going for an offensive rebound, because that's going to be the next play is an offensive rebounding opportunity. So instead, he backs up again, lets the UC Davis guy reestablish the position, and he isn't able to get the offensive rebound. So again, 13's got to be more aggressive. The UC Davis defender does a nice job, but again, he needs to box out a little bit further.